Chapter 7 World Record for the Best Friday Ever After the Worst Wednesday and Thursday. Friday means two things. The first is that it's the last day before I can take 2 days off school. I like to think of it as a non altercation suspension. Plus, the weekend was when me and Ma actually did stuff. And not just watch movies and avoid homework, because she didn't work on weekends and took early morning online nursing classes to get them out of the way. And when she was done, we would clean the house. I was in charge of the living room. Ma would give me her version of a haircut. She always got most of it even. Then give herself one. And then we would go over to my Aunt Sophie's house. Aunt Sophie is my mom's younger sister, and she's like the coolest lady ever. She has a tattoo of her arm on her arm that says Sweetie Pie that I never asked about, but always stared at just because I can't wait to get one. But mine ain't gonna say nothing like that. Mine is gonna say World's Greatest, or, of course, Ghost. Anyway, on the weekends, Aunt Sophie and my mom sit around and play cards and crack jokes and eat corn chips with cheese dip and drink beer, and sometimes they let me and King, Aunt Sophie's son, sit with them and play. Yes, we can play. Me and King learned how to play spades and tonk when we were really young. It's a thing in our family, a serious thing, and yes, his real name is King. I think the sisters just wanted to give us royal names. So yeah, all I had to do was get through Friday without any problems, and I was good to go for the weekend. The other thing about Friday, which I didn't know until Thursday, is that Coach gives everybody the day off, no practice, and then, of course, since this was the first Friday of the season, Coach was taking the newbies out for dinner. After 2 half days of school, which technically equals one full day, I'm happy to say that school went pretty smooth on Friday. Brandon Simmons was back, and even though I had my regular dusty butt shoes, the fancy ones, were for track only, Brandon didn't have too much to say to me. I saw him just before first period, and he walked right past me and Dre. I saw some of the other kids snickering at him as he passed, but I told them all to chill. I don't know why, because he totally deserved to be roasted, but I guess I felt kind of bad for the dude. I've been there. I can't believe you're giving this clown a pass, Dre said. It was almost like he had a year's worth of laughs stored up, waiting to unload them on Brandon. Everybody did, but I just couldn't let it happen. Funny thing was, when I saw Shamika in Mr. Hollow's class, she apologized to me about everything that went on in the class the day before. And that, my friends, is what they call karma. Plus, like I said, she was a cool girl anyway. At lunch, she even sat with me, Red, and Dre, and told us every story about times she cut things, just because she was feeling a little guilty. There was one time I cut my hair. Man, that was crazy. Just straight up started hacking it off like a maniac, just because I was hot and my hair was on my neck, she said first, just before taking a bite of her burger. Then, in the midst of chewing, she continued, and another time, I cut a pair of jeans into shorts, while I still had them on. That was not smart. Still got the scars on my legs. And then she erupted into laughter, just like she did in class, but this time she was the butt of her own joke. And even though me, Dre, and Red didn't really find it funny, we couldn't help but laugh too, because, well, that's what her laugh makes you do. Before I knew it, school was over, and I went on my usual walk home. I mean, Coach wasn't coming until later, so I figured there was no rush. So I went to Mr. Charles's store. Let me guess, sunflower seeds, Mr. Charles said. He turned the little TV down as usual. Let me guess, $1, I said, slapping my money on the counter. I grabbed the bag. You okay, son? Mr. Charles asked. Yeah, why? Oh, you know, all that stuff that happened yesterday, and you being teased, and then you came here and got... He stopped short. I was starting to feel a little annoyed that he even brought it up, because I definitely was trying to forget all about it, especially the last part, the stockroom part. Talk about weird. Not that I hadn't thought about it. I mean, how could I not? But every time my father's face, or the sound of his angry voice, or the sound of a gun cocking popped in my mind, I would just shake it out of my head by thinking about my bullets, the silver bullets. But you can't be mad at old James Brown, faced like man like Mr. Charles. You just can't. Yeah, man, I assured him. I'm cool. I'm actually in a good mood. Oh yeah, he asked. I used my teeth to rip open the corner of the bag. Yeah, got a dinner thing I'm going out to tonight. For my track team, I said, all proud. Track team? Mr. Charles asked, now turning the TV down even more. You're on a track team, Castle? Yes, sir, I started to say, but it's hard to try and talk and get a seed out of the shell at the same time. So I waited until I got it done, then continued. Remember, I told you yesterday. You did? Mr. Charles looked puzzled. The old brain's getting wonky these days. Sorry, son. It's cool. I tapped the bag in my palm to get a few more seeds out. So, yeah, I'm on a team called the Defenders, one of the best teams in the city. I didn't know you were an athlete. Mr. Charles seemed impressed. Well, I am. A pretty good one, too, I bragged, tossing the seeds in my mouth, then casually slapping my hand against my thigh to brush the salt off. A shock of soreness shot down to my knee, a painful reminder that I was definitely an athlete. Arrgh. Mr. Charles twisted the top of cranberry juice and took a sip. I believe you. I told you, kid. You're one of the world's greatest. Got that right, I said, now spinning shells into my hand. One of the world's greatest. After I left the store, I headed to stop two, the bus stop. I took a seat next to an older woman. She was doing a crossword puzzle and humming a song I didn't recognize. She might have been making it up. It didn't sound bad, though. Across the street at the gym where all the people were working out, the Walking Dead. Ha, that's what they looked like. Anyway, I hung out there for a while before moving on. When I got to Martin Luther King Park, I looked down at the track, and there wasn't nobody except for a man jogging with his dog. But nobody else. No real runners. After that, there was really no place else to go but home, and I wasn't ready to go there yet. So I went to the basketball court. At the court, as usual, all the older guys were there running fives for cash. I knew some of them just because they were always there playing. Like Pop, who was probably in his 20s or something like that. I didn't even think about that he was anybody's dad, but everybody called him Pop. He was a short dude with crazy handles and a mean jumper. He was one of those guys who could do all the tricks and stuff, shake you right out of your socks like it was nothing. And Sicko was there too, but luckily for me, he didn't have his crazy dog with him. Sicko wasn't really good at basketball. He was super rough. He probably should have been a football player or a wrestler. Big James was there too. He was like the best player ever to me. He looked like he really played pro ball. 6 feet something, all muscle. People always said Big James played college ball but never went pro. I never knew what he did for a living. All I knew was that he was always at the court, dominating the game, taking everybody's money. So I guess basketball was what he did for a living after all. Besides the Hoopers, there was a bunch of other people at the court, just hanging out. Girls. Some of their girlfriends, the guys playing, and others wanted to be girlfriends of the guys playing. And junkies. They'd just be zombied out, roaming around the court, outside the court. They knew better than to mess up the game. They'd just walk along the out-of-bounds line like it was a tightrope, waiting for Goose. Goose was the dope man, who also happened to be a pretty good ball player. Super flashy, but an all-around nice guy. Well, except for selling drugs. The court was where he served in more ways than one. I chilled there for a while, watching Sicko push everybody around until what always happens happened. A fight, as usual. Stupid Sicko pushed the wrong guy, a guy I didn't know, and that guy pushed Sicko back. And then Pop got into it. And then Big James. And then Big James's girl. And then some other girl. And then some junkie started howling like a wolf. And then I was out. By the time I made it home, I had a bit of time to kill before Coach picked me up. Just enough time to wash up, or as Mom says, splash some water on my hot spots, throw on some clean clothes, and give myself 2 spritzes of perfume. It was Ma's and it smelled like flowers, but hey, so what? When Coach showed up, he hit the horn a few times, and when I didn't come out right away, he hit it a few more times. I'm coming, I said, locking the door. Coach had his window down and was talking to Mr. Jefferson, the neighborhood sweeper. At least that's what we called him. He basically swept up the street every single day, but it didn't seem to ever really get clean. There was always glass or paper, or, I don't know, a dirty couch. What's up, y'all? I said to Patty, who sat up front, and Lou, who was in the back with me. I wondered where Coach put all the junk that was usually in his cab, probably in the trunk, which was a place I never, ever wanted to see. What's up, man? Lou said. I've been around here before, Patty said, skipping the hello. I can't remember when, but I know I've been around here. Me too, said Lou. Not really these parts. My pop plays ball sometime at the court down the street. Oh yeah? I play at that court. I lied. Man, I was getting smooth with the lies. Just came from over there. Coach shook Mr. Jefferson's hand, then turned around to me. Took you long enough, he tossed over his shoulder. Then he sniffed and sniffed and sniffed. That's you? Smell like flowers? Coach asked Patty. Nope, that's Pretty Boy back there, she said. Who, Lou? Coach adjusted his mirror. No, the other one, Patty said, talking about me. I couldn't even believe she called me Pretty Boy. I squeezed my cheeks to crush a smile, and before Coach or Lou could say something, Patty added, I like it. It smells good. One more stop before the Chinese food. We left Glass Manor and went to the other side of town, like the other side, where the houses have yards in front and the back, where there are 2 or 3 floors, and each kid has his own room. Even if there are like 5 kids, Each one gets their own four walls, and everybody has a car or two, and there are driveways to park those cars in. And there's also basketball courts in those driveways, the kind you can move around and adjust to make it low enough to dunk on. No wig shops, no fish markets, no Mr. Charles, which had to suck. And as we pulled up in front of Sonny's house, a big brick castle with an old rusty car in the driveway, I wondered why Sonny didn't act like the other people I'd met who lived in this neighborhood. He was cool. A little weird, but cool. Coach hit the horn. Sonny came right out, tall and awkward. He waved to us. That funny wave he always did. Yo, Patty, you should get in the back here so Sonny can actually get his legs in the car, Lou suggested. I agreed. It didn't make sense for Sonny to be cramped up in the back with us. Plus, Sonny had already opened the back door on my side, and I just wasn't into sitting in the middle. Yeah, Patty, I said, that makes the most sense. I don't care what y'all do. Just do it quick so we can go, Coach barked. Patty turned around and looked us up and down. Ain't nobody sitting back there with y'all goons. I might get goon juice on me, and don't nobody want goon juice on them. What if I can't get it off? Then what? Patty, Lou yelped. Patty turned back around, ignoring him. Patty, come on, I begged. Seriously, Lou whined. At this point, Sonny already started stepping in, forcing me to scoot over the middle. The middle sucks. It's where babies sit. I ain't no baby. Sonny crunched and scrunched his body until he got it all in. There. It reminded me of this dude, Yogi Laser, I read about, who holds the record for having the fastest time to cram into a box. Crazy. Sonny's knees were smashed against Patty's seat, and he had no place to put his arm, so he put it around me. It was just ridiculous. Once Sonny closed the door, which took 3 tries, Patty and Coach turned around and looked at us. Aw, look at y'all, bonding like brothers, Coach jabbed. Or like clowns, Patty followed with a hook. Just drive, please, I groaned, seeing Sonny smiling away like nothing was wrong out of the corner of my eye.